Imagine being the most powerful woman in Europe. Queen of 2 kingdoms. Mother of kings. Ruler of lands larger than France itself. Then, one day it all ends. Your husband locks you away. You are erased from the world. Your children are forbidden from seeing you. You become a ghost, forgotten, silenced, and imprisoned for 16 years. This isn't a fairy tale. This is the true story of Eleanor of Aquitaine, a queen who was buried alive by the man who once crowned her. She was the most sought-after heiress of the 12th century, a woman of breathtaking intelligence and ambition. She married 2 kings, went on crusade, and shaped the destiny of England and France. Yet today, most people have never heard of her. But why was she imprisoned? What crime could justify 16 years of captivity? And why did history try to forget her? For 800 years, her story has been hidden in the shadows. But now, we're bringing it back into the light. This is the heartbreaking life and eternal prison of the forgotten Queen Eleanor of Aquitaine. Eleanor was born around 1122, the daughter of William X, Duke of Aquitaine. She grew up in the most cultured court in Europe, a place of poetry, music, and sophistication. She was educated in everything a noble needed to rule. When she was just 15, her father died. Suddenly, Eleanor became the Duchess of Aquitaine, ruler of 1/3 of France. She was the richest heiress in Europe, and every king wanted her. In 1137, she married Louis, heir to the French throne. Within a month, he became King Louis VII, and Eleanor became Queen of France. For 15 years she was queen, but the marriage was troubled. The couple had only 2 daughters, and no sons. In medieval Europe, a queen's duty was to produce male heirs. In 1147, Eleanor accompanied Louis on the Second Crusade. She traveled to Constantinople and Jerusalem. She was fearless, commanding, and utterly defiant. But the crusade was a disaster. At the court of her uncle in Antioch, Eleanor's behavior aroused Louis's jealousy. Their marriage was shattered. In 1152, the marriage was annulled. The reason? Consanguinity. They were distant cousins. But the real reason was that Eleanor had failed to produce a son. She got her lands back. And then she did something shocking. Just 2 months after the annulment, she married the young Henry of Anjou, who would become King of England. The marriage was a strategic masterstroke. In 1154, Henry became King Henry II of England. Together, they ruled an empire that stretched from the Scottish border to the Pyrenees. For nearly 2 decades, Eleanor was at the heart of power. She traveled between England and France, administered her lands, and gave birth to 5 sons and 3 daughters. Among them was Richard the Lionheart. She was the grandmother of Europe. But behind the crown, a storm was brewing. Henry II was a brilliant king. But he was also an unfaithful husband. He had mistresses, illegitimate children, and a temper that could destroy anyone who crossed him. Eleanor, 11 years older than her husband, had long resented his infidelities. But it was their sons who would ignite the war. In 1173, Eleanor's sons, young Henry, Richard, and Geoffrey, rebelled against their father. They wanted more power, and Eleanor gave them support. The revolt failed. The sons were pardoned. But Eleanor was not. Henry imprisoned his wife. She was captured while seeking refuge with her first husband, Louis VII. She was moved between different castles in England, Sarum, Winchester, and others. She was isolated, forbidden from seeing her children, and stripped of all political power. At a time when she was supposed to be at the center of European politics, she was forgotten. She became a ghost. Historians believe she was imprisoned for supporting the rebellion. But many suspect the true reason was something else. Henry didn't just fear a rebellious wife. He feared a powerful queen who could challenge his authority. For 16 years, Eleanor remained in captivity. She watched from afar as her sons grew up. She was absent from their coronations and their triumphs. She was erased from the record. Then, in 1189, Henry II died. His son, Richard the Lionheart, became king, and on Richard's orders, Eleanor was released. She was 65 years old. In the 12th century, that was considered elderly. But her story wasn't over. It was just beginning. When Eleanor emerged from prison, she didn't retire. She became more powerful than ever. She acted as regent for Richard while he was on the Third Crusade. She raised an eye-watering ransom when Richard was captured. She traveled across Europe, crossing the Alps in winter, to negotiate treaties and secure alliances. Laws were made by the order of Queen Eleanor, who at that time ruled England. In 1199, Richard died. His younger brother John became king. Eleanor, now nearly 80, campaigned tirelessly to secure John's succession. She continued to rule her beloved Aquitaine. She was a diplomat, a negotiator, and a warrior. On April 1, 1204, Eleanor of Aquitaine died. She was 82 years old. She was buried in Fontevraud Abbey in France, next to Henry II and Richard the Lionheart. Her effigy shows her reading a book, a reminder of her love of knowledge and culture. Today, Eleanor of Aquitaine is remembered as one of the most powerful women in history. She was a queen, a crusader, a mother, and a survivor. But for 16 years, she was erased. Locked away. Forgotten. Her life was a tragedy and a triumph. She defied every rule of her time. She proved that even in the Middle Ages, a woman could rule the world. The heartbreaking truth is that Eleanor's imprisonment wasn't just about a rebellion. It was about power. It was about a king who feared his queen. And it was about a woman who refused to be silenced. This is the story of Eleanor of Aquitaine, the forgotten queen who refused to be forgotten.